Hello, and I am back. All right, so let's just get right back to it. So, these are the swine. These are your swine. And I think that we, as I said before the end of the podcast today, we're going to pray to the Lord for discernment. Because the first thing you need is discernment. There's some relationships that you just can't always just go off and cut people off. But if you discern, and this person is a swine, the first thing you need to do is to keep your pearl in your hand and pull your hand back into yourself. And a lot of times what, that may mean is to put your top lip to your bottom lip and keep those things that God is doing for your life silent. Because what you'll find is, you'll find people who will come close to you because they discern your star. And they want to stop you from achieving anything. So they will, there's old saying that you keep your friends close and you keep your enemies closer. They will come close to you just to find out what's going on with you. And when they figure out what's up with you, they will sabotage it. They will subvert it. They will divert it. They will circumvent it because they don't want you to do it. They don't want you to have it. And for me, I'm going to be a little transparent here. I may have heard things like this always, but I never trusted myself enough. And so I hope this blesses you. I was the kind of person, I had very good discernment, but I didn't trust it, so it was pointless. I would have that Holy Ghost would tell me, okay, you know what? This person is not for you. They don't care about you. This is not a good person for you. But I didn't trust that voice, and I thought maybe it was just me. That person's so nice, because in my mind, people had to be mean to be involved in witchcraft. They had to be mean to be involved in bad things. They had to be mean to be doing something bad to me. It never occurred to me that someone could smile at you and be stabbing you in the back. So that's why when you read the book Delilah, when the Lord explained to me about the real spirit of Delilah, I was shocked. Because it took me almost 40 years to learn what I'm telling you right now. And some people who have already known this, they're going to shake their head and smile because they've already known that. But for me, it was new. I was a very innocent-minded person. And I really felt like if somebody was nice to me, it meant that they were for me and they liked me. And if they were rude to me, it meant that they did it. When in all actuality, the people who are rude to you may just be the ones who are the ones who mean you well, whereas not always, but sometimes. Some of those are the swine because they're just outwardly and they will overtly oppress you. Whereas the ones that you need to watch will be the ones that are snake type that will covertly oppress you. But either way, they're swine. So what I learned from that was that, it doesn't matter how much someone, I can't remember exactly how she said it, so I'm not going to quote her name, but she said, everybody that's screaming your name is not rooting for you. And there are some people who will smile at you, they will hug you, they will love you, they will even wish you well. And at the same time, they are waiting for an occasion. And that's just the truth. It's not, listen, I understand. It sounds like I'm a very bitter person, but I'm a realist. And I feel like what I've been through is wasted if I don't impart that to someone else. That, just because someone seems agreeable to you. There are people who are what they call psychophants. They will sit and they will yes man you and they will love you, quote unquote, but at the same time, they are literally sucking virtues from you. You can avoid these types, but the way to avoid them is to really ask the Lord for discernment, but not just discernment in seeing them, because once you see them, it's not enough to see them. It's enough then to ask the Lord, okay, now how do I need to interact with this particular one? Because this particular person seems to be quite, quite the one. And I'm not really sure how I should handle this as far as this person goes. You would be surprised that the Lord might tell you, let them remain and isolate them from the personal information, but keep them in a certain place. It's a rarity that a swine will ever confess, because you have to be sorry to confess. And most of the time they're not going to confess because they're not sorry for what they're doing. But so you're not waiting necessarily for their sorrow for you to deal with them. Yes, it may be some people that you have to love them from a distance, and you have to operate in the forgiveness matrix, because we don't want to get pulled into the unforgiveness matrix. We forgive the right way, right? We don't forgive upside down and try to trick ourselves into forgetting. No, we don't allow the forgiveness matrix to come in with that evil spirit of recall and replay and evil attribution, evil awareness, and memory recall. We let it go. We forgive them into the hands of the Lord, and we walk away from that. We leave that there. Now, once you've forgiven them, you also don't allow anyone to put you into a bondage. If you know that you're standing in front of one of those tennis ball machines and you've already been injured and you're bleeding, it's not smart to say, well, I forgave that machine, I'm going to still stand there. No, you need to take proper steps to prevent being injured again by that person. But that doesn't mean you haven't forgiven them. Some people, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, and I don't, I really just don't care. I don't, not to this end, because I've lived through this. And a lot of people who will tell me I'm wrong haven't. But you have to sometimes put a swine, a dog, an abuser on a no contact. And when you see that a person is really abusive, especially if they're involved in witchcraft or the occult, you may have to no contact them. That doesn't make you an unforgiver. It means that you are actually forgiven. Why do I say that? Because you can forgive them if you're not giving them a chance to keep re-injuring you. But if they are continuing to re-injure you, guess what's happening? Yes, you're making yourself forgive according to somebody else's definition of forgiveness. But at the same time, you're becoming bitter. And what you do not want to do is to become bitter. And the best way to prevent bitterness is to heal properly. And you cannot heal properly if you are being re-injured. And a lot of times when you're dealing with occultic and witchcraft attacks, especially from people that you trust, and you trusted them and they've hurt you, like in some of the examples I gave earlier, you may have to cut that off and say, okay, I do forgive you. And because I forgive you, I'm not going to have you to keep re-injuring me there so that bitterness can creep in and that unforgiveness matrix can pull me in. Because if the minute you get into unforgiveness, that is a very, very, very bad place to be as far as receiving things from God and being blessed. And the worst part about unforgiveness, and I mentioned this in my book, is that it soul ties you to the person who offended you. And in particular to their familiar spirits. So a familiar spirit will use that as an open door. I know these things because I've been through them. There are people who I try to trick myself, name it and claim it. But these people are so wounded me in my heart. And they were so vicious in their treatment towards me. And the things that I hold dear, that to continue allowing them to do that, they even cross the boundaries of no contact. That's okay. I did what I needed to do. Now you're in the hands of the Lord. I'm not required to forgive you and not put you in the hands of the Lord. I need to put you there. But I can put you in the hands of the Lord and say, okay, it's not my battle anymore, because the Bible said vengeance is mine. If you ask any Satanist or witch, they will tell you don't do that. Because they know, even in their own little religion type thing, that you will reap what you sow. When you tell someone, I do put you in the avenging hand of the Lord, I forgive you with wisdom and judgment. I can't forget because you're determined not to let me forget because you want to keep re-injuring me. I won't allow that. I no contact you. Now, if you override those boundaries of no contact, then you also override and bring the judgment of God on yourself. And so there's a reason why you get behind the Lord, because when you're dwelling in the secret place of the Most High, you're abiding under the shadow of the Almighty. And when you're doing that and you're under the shadow, swines can't see you under that shadow. Dogs can't perceive you under that shadow. Evil cats, even though cats can see at night, dogs can see that, but they cannot discern you under the shadow of the Most High God. So even if they are determined to overstep your no contact and your boundaries, you still have a place to go. Don't allow the devil to take your pearls and rend you. You don't have to be rend by swine. You have every option to stand on your watch and say, no, these are my pearls. And if I see that you are overtly or covertly taking on the role of a swine to oppress me, I will put space there, not because I'm angry and I'm just not speaking to you, but because forgiveness requires that I don't allow you to keep re-injuring me. Because I value not having those soul ties and living a free life more than I value you being angry at me because you no longer have an open door to keep manipulating my life. If you have been dealing with swine, know that you're not alone. I would venture to say that out of every genuine person out there, 8 out of 10 people around you are swine. Swine, vipers, dogs, people like Judas who are monitoring agents, traitors like Judas and Delilah. You may have Jezebelic people who are trying to steal from your anointing and use your authority to stamp their own wickedness. And there's Jezebel and Haman who operate in that spirit. You may be surrounded by evil people like Sanballat and Tobias who had it in mind to be saboteurs and used psychological warfare and the power of social weaponry. Which I mean is they would have people to start talking about what good people they were in the presence of Nehemiah. You read the book of Nehemiah and you'll hear they used a lot of psychological warfare against them. They sent hitmen against them and they did a lot of things. You may have Sanballats and Tobias around you. You may have Labans around and the governors who want to not only steal, but also want to enslave and want to keep you down. And they have a vested interest in seeing that nobody helps you because they don't want to see you helped. People like the governors who came against Daniel and went and negotiated that was more along the lines of a Jezebelic type. They actually had the spirits of Jezebel in that they used the king's authority as a weapon. But then you also have Laban who is in the marketplace and he was one who enslaved and use his position to sabotage and to take and to steal. And so anyway, these are the things that surrounds a manifesting saint. And we may readjust it. We may talk about this Wednesday or we may talk about something else. But either way, I'll speak to you on Wednesday.